All right, so this Saturday you have the final in the Cruiserweight World Boxing Super Series. Oleksandr Usyk versus Murat Gassieve. And I think, to me, at least in my opinion, I think this is the most important fight of this year so far, and I think more likely it will end up being, at least in my opinion, the most important fight of the year because of its what's at stake and obviously the tournament and the journey to get to this point for both fighters. If anybody's ever watched my channel, you know that I have spoke on this several times, that I personally believe tournaments are the way to go to determine who are the best fighters at that weight class. So when it comes to tournaments so far, I think this is the best one that's been organized. And you know, you got two fighters that are coming in there with two straps each. Whoever wins this fight is going to be the unified cruiserweight champion. So for me, it is the most important fight of the year so far, and I think that that's the way it's going to end. I can't really see a fight topping this. Yeah, there's bigger media attention, at least in America or in the Western world, where you got two mainstream fighters like Golovkin and Canelo fighting each other. But to me, this is the most important one because of everything that's on the table. And like I said, the road to get to this point. All right, so in Gassieve's road to get here, I thought was, obviously it was very impressive. He had beat Usyk with a body shot, stopped him in the third round, and then in a classic fight, but a dominant performance, he stops Dorticos in the last round of that fight. And I think that Gassieve, at least to me, has shown a lot of improvement. He's someone that I knew would get to this point. I always thought going into this tournament, once the names were announced, I thought that either Gassieve or Usyk would win this tournament. I thought it was going to come down to either one, and it turns out that they'll be fighting for that, you know, to win it all. So Gassieve is a very young man, 24 years old. He's a man-child, you know, one of those guys that look like they develop really fast. He's just as big as Usyk, if not bigger, right? I think he's like 6'3" or 4". Usyk is more or less the same height. Looks like he might be a little bit more naturally bigger than Usyk, not by much, but just a big cruiserweight, who I think packs more power than Usyk. He has shown that as every fight goes by, he's starting to get better. He's a great body puncher, orthodox fighter who uses his lead left as a weapon, right? He can do a lot with that. He can go to the body, he can hook to the body, he can hook to the top, set up beautiful combinations with his right. So that's something that I think is going to be really important for him to try to offset the southpaw, who knows how to stand in that dominant southpaw position versus a orthodox fighter. That's going to be important for him, in my opinion, is to use that lead left. I think he has just as much power in that left as he does in his right. So it's going to be something that he's going to need for this fight versus Usyk, who's a very elusive southpaw, throws a lot of punches. To me, he's just a punching machine, and always understands positioning and always understands where he's at in the fight. And he brings, he's going to bring the fight pretty much the whole fight. It's going to be up to Gassieve to offset that, to slow him down, right? Usyk, who is the southpaw going into this fight, who is the more experienced fighter at 31 years old, and just everything that he's been through as an amateur and so far as a pro, who's developed this road warrior mentality. It's been very successful, right? He's beat Glowacki in Poland. He beat Marco Huck in the tournament. He beat him in Germany, and he beat Britas in Latvia, right? So he's going to be facing the same situation, fighting Gassieve in Russia. So this is a element that he is comfortable with. I think the pressure is on Gassieve. And although Gassieve has shown that he is multi-dimensional in terms of he can fight off the back foot, he can fight going forward. The one thing that he does, and I noticed, and someone brought this to my attention, I believe it was Precise Presenter in one of the BDA Live hangouts, is that he can be too patient against a volume puncher like Usyk, an experienced fighter like Usyk. I can see Usyk using that to his advantage and pulling off this fight. I can see him winning in that way, winning in picking his spots when he sees Gassieve is not really doing much, is planning his next move. Usyk will be shooting off combinations, and that will be key for him to win the fight. Obviously, you got to be careful with Gassieve and his punching power, and I'm sure Usyk is definitely aware of that. And as a southpaw, as an elusive fighter that he is, with the great footwork for a man his size, I feel like he's going to try to work that to his advantage. And I think that's how he's going to win the fight. I feel that he'll win this fight on points. It'll go 12 rounds. This is as 50-50 as you can get, in my opinion. The one advantage to me, what it's looking like to me, is the experience that Usyk has been in this situation. Not that Gassieve is not gaining his experience by fighting guys like Lebedev and pulling out a tough fight, a fight that maybe he could have lost had he not scored that knockdown against Lebedev. His fight with Dorticos showed a lot of character, but again, Dorticos was pretty much one-dimensional, where Usyk is not going to give him that same look. He will do other things in that fight if one thing is not working. So I'm going with Usyk, 12-round, unanimous decision in a very good fight. I give Gassieve one hell of a shot to win this fight. But you gotta pick a winner, and that's what I'm doing in this video. I got Usyk beating Gassieve in a great fight.